Hey friends, it's Allison. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm working in my October daily again. This layout is going to be a single page layout, and I am focusing on using pattern papers and elements from Simple Stories Happily Ever After. So this collection is primarily supposed to be a wedding themed collection, which is fantastic. I don't have any wedding photos to scrapbook, but I did have this photo of a drawing of my grandmother that one of my family members had done. She was thinking of her one day and could not get her off her mind until she sat down with pencil and paper and drew a picture of her. She shared it with us, the family, on Facebook, and I took a screenshot of it and knew that I needed to scrapbook it. So I began by printing my photo at 3 by 8 inches, and I also trimmed some white cardstock, just plain white cardstock, down to 6 by 8. The picture of my Oma goes on the right hand side of the page. I just used my tape runner to glue it to the page. The left hand side of the page is actually going to have two different journaling cards on it that are both 3 by 4 inches. In the paper collection, there are also a bunch of tags. Originally, that was going to be what I wanted to decorate this page with, was a bunch of the tags. But after I got to looking at the paper and specifically the cut apart sheets, I knew that I really wanted to use this floral piece. And then another one that in the end I have to end up tweaking and kind of piecing together and making my own because it doesn't really work the way that I want it to. While I was looking for the 3 by 4 cards, I noticed that there was a tag that had the same florals in it as the 3 by 4 card. They were just slightly smaller. My idea became fussy cutting those smaller flowers out and attaching them over top of the ones in the journal card just to give it some dimension. I also decided that I wanted to distress the edges of the journal cards as well, so I'm doing that right now. I put this journal card at the top of the page, but I actually move it down to the bottom of the page. You'll see that in a few minutes. Right here I put it on upside down by accident. Whoops. And I'm going to work on those smaller florals now. I took out some Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide by Tim Holtz, and I'm just inking the edges of those smaller florals. Once I have those inked, I will use some foam squares to lift them up off the page. You can see those right now. And I just did the 3 of the largest flowers in that little bouquet rather than cutting everything out and adhering it over top. I didn't want the journaling card and this layout actually in total to feel really flat and not have any dimension to it. So that's why I took those flowers and fussy cut them. And here is where I'm going to build my own journaling card. It is actually based on one of the journaling cards already in the collection, but I knew that I wanted to type my journaling, but I couldn't get it so it fit onto the pre-printed lines that were on the journaling card. I thought it would look really funny, so I stole the phrase that was on the original journaling card, which was Moments to Remember. I used my Cricut to write that out. I also used my Cricut to cut a tag, which is what the phrase is written on, from pattern paper from the Happily Ever After collection. It's just a floral pattern paper and it looked really, really cute together. The journaling is actually printed on a different tag that I trimmed down. I cut the top of it off and just used the grid pattern portion of it to give it a little bit of pattern for my journaling to rest on. I printed my journaling on the computer. I typed it out first and then printed it. And that goes on that little spot on the inside of the card. So like I pieced it together, but I really like the way that it comes out in the end. There is a bit of a gap at the top of the tag above the phrase Moments to Remember. I could not for the life of me figure out what I wanted to do up in that dead space. I wanted to add something else, but I didn't know what. I kind of thought about using some more pattern paper from the collection, but everything I pulled out was too strong, too bold, or not the right color. Like, they were the right colors because they all coordinate together, but I didn't like having such a bold statement placed over top of everything else that's muted. I felt like it would take away the attention from the rest of the layout. In the end, when I was taking pictures for the still shots for this video, it occurred to me that I have stamps in my stash and I could stamp a phrase above the phrase that was written with my Cricut. So even though there is nothing that goes there now in this video at the top, and I don't add it until after I've got the photos done, I do add a stamped phrase from Ellie's Studio to go over top of the moments to remember phrase. So it does read in the very end, wrapped up in moments to remember. I did pull out some twine from my stash. This yellow twine is from Close to My Heart. It's old stuff, so I don't think it is available anymore in the shop. I had a few different ones pulled out. I didn't know what I wanted to use, but I really liked the yellow. And actually, I really liked that it pulled the yellow from the bottom of the layout to the top. I think it was the right call. I also pulled out some Tim Holtz phrase stickers. I ended up using I think these are the news clippings, or clippings at least anyways, phrase stickers. And I'm just playing around with where I want to add the phrase sticker. In the end, I place it generally in the center of the journaling card. I use a little bit of liquid glue just to ensure it stays put and doesn't come off. That's it for me, friends. This layout came together really quickly. I really enjoyed putting it together, and I thought this collection was perfect for a story about myoma. Thanks for joining me, and I'll be back again soon. Bye, friends.